This is the Engwe M20, with its Cafe Racer Super73 baiting looks, a motor that peaks at 1000 watts and a double battery configuration that gives it extraordinary range without breaking the bank. The Engwe M20 is about to shake up the e-bike industry.
I was talking to Engwe before when they were talking about some bikes they wanted to send me to test, and I said to him, Engwe, what you really want to do is you want to compete with that other brand making those Cafe Racer style bikes. And you could really do with making your own Cafe Racer style bike. And do you know what they said? They said, we are. And this is what they've come up with, the M20.
And with the M20, Engwe have arguably made one of the best looking Cafe Racer e-bikes out there. With its BMX style handlebars, the double batteries giving it the look that it has a petrol tank and some sort of engine, where a lot of other e-bikes like this have nothingness. Those fat 20-inch, 4-inch thick Chaoyang tyres giving it an aggressive, mean stance, and the menacing double lights that also work as daytime running lights that complete the motorcycle aesthetic. Engwe say its design is inspired by a fish, but I couldn't see Steve McQueen riding a fish. I could see him riding this whilst on holiday in Saint-Tropez.
Let's just slow it down a bit and let's take a closer look at the bike. First for Engwe, it's got a full grip throttle. I've turned it off so I can happily turn that. It's got mechanical disc brakes, front and rear. It has front suspension, rear suspension, Welgo metal pedals, a really soft feeling saddle, but we'll see how comfortable that is over a longer ride. Those BMX style handlebars, computer on the side this time. I haven't seen this one on the Engwe bike before. Let's turn it on, and because it's got one of these batteries you can turn it on here. It also has a USB charge port, biggest USB power brick ever. Little switch here so you can check the power. Let's have a look at this. The on switch is at the back. Power levels, you can see the pass changing, 0 all the way up to 5. Trip computer, light switch. Now something different about this, I haven't turned the lights on yet, but oh look, the lights are on. No, they are not the lights, they are running, daytime running lights. This is when the lights are on, so we'll get to see how this looks at night time. They've got the nice chunky stand as seen on their Engine Pro e-bike. Better than that skinny tiny one that's on the C20 Pro. Metal mudguards, a horn, not even sure where that's coming from, down here somewhere. It came with this cool little case which I think goes there. I wasn't sure where these little straps go, and you do need to zip it behind there, so I've had to make a little bit of a space, but I think I'm just not going to bother zipping that part up. But it's very quite nice, and it gives that kind of fuel tank appearance. And all in all, it's a very nice bike. I've got to say, I am really excited to ride this because I've ridden it briefly, but a proper ride, because I've never had a bike like this before. So before we go, let's just see how bouncy the suspension is. It's the back. Front, you can lock it out with this compression gauge, so you can give it a turn, and then it's more squidgy. I tend to prefer it a bit harder, so I'm going to turn it the other way, and you can pretty much lock it out. So we'll test that out. It folds using this. Oh wait, right, it doesn't fold. SAS index gear levers, nothing new here really. You've seen it on a lot of e-bikes, but the computer's a bit different. It's similar to their monochrome style display, but in a different form factor. I really like the way it fits there on the left hand side. I like it being on the left because everything's quite accessible as you're riding along. The 20-inch fat tyres are made by Chaoyang. The rear suspension is a brand that's always seen on these kind of more budget conscious e-bikes. It kind of does a job. It's not the best, but it's okay.
With the 750 watt motor that peaks at 1000, how many times have you heard that now on your M20 review hunting? The bike has a stated top speed of 28 miles per hour, or 25 miles per hour, depending on which document you believe. The Engwe advertising department do have a tendency to get confused sometimes.
I like the way the bike feels. The throttle isn't instant when you do it. There is a slight delay when you pull it, but when it pulls faster than an indecisive Love Islander. At the moment, the speedos are absolutely matching. 23, 23. 26, 25. That's good. 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, speedo says 26. So, just throttle, 24, 25, pretty low. How about with less wind resistance? Doesn't want to get much over 25. Right, pedal, can I help? I can definitely help. 26, 27. I was actually catching the car, so I had to stop. I wouldn't recommend it though.
So with pedaling, you could get up to 28 to 29 miles per hour. That's about 46 kilometers per hour if you're metricized, but don't forget it's illegal to pedal furiously in the UK. Despite my findings, I'd say expect a top speed of around 25 miles per hour if you want a relaxed ride and not be turning up to work looking like a sweaty mess. By the way, when you do arrive at work, you can really quickly take the battery off, take it in with you and give it a little charge, because who doesn't like travelling for free? And despite how I've made this bike sound so far in this review, it is really meant to be a chilled, relaxing ride. But is it?
The bench is quite comfortable. It's not the best to pedal on. I am a bit low, but it's really padded. I'd like to take it over longer distance, but at the moment, it feels like I'm riding on a pile of nappies, full of poo. Without the smell, of course.
Obviously there isn't much adjustability in this type of bike with its fixed bench, and luckily this is perfect for my hobbit-sized 5'9". But Engwe, I reckon you can ride this if you're anywhere between 5 foot and 6'8".
That's Hulk Hogan size. I don't see Hulk Hogan riding this bike, even if he said his prayers and took his vitamins.
And if Hulk Hogan were to ride this bike, he certainly wouldn't hit the manufacturer's stated range of 45 miles per battery at pedal assist level 1. Plus, I'm pretty sure the Hulkster weighs more than the bike's limit of 120 kilograms. At 34 kilograms, the bike itself is decently heavy. Luckily, by holding down the down button on the bike's computer, you can access a walk mode, which will push the bike along at 6 kilometers per hour. By the way, holding down the plus button on the computer would usually turn on the light, but since the M20 has a dedicated light button, all the plus button does when it's held down is dim the screen and pretend the lights are on. There's even a little instruction on the computer telling you that's how you turn on the lights. Lies! The 48 volt battery rated at 13 amp hours gives the bike a total of 624 watt hours, which is a decent capacity. But remember, this bike can be bought with 2 batteries if needed, and they work together too. This isn't one of those clunky unplug and swap jobs. They work together. It is like you have one massive battery. And remember, they both have USB ports, so you could even get a job as a mobile cell phone charge supplier. Just Charge or Chargeroo, you heard it here first. I digress. Those 2 batteries bring the total capacity to a staggering 1024 watt hours. That's over a kilowatt hour on an e-bike.
Engwe reckon that it'd take a rider lighter than me about 75 kilometers or 47 miles. That's on the 1 battery, because you can get this in 2 battery mode. But that's if you stick to power assist 1. So let's just dial it down to power assist 1 and see how that would feel. So I'm pedaling along. It's not terrible. 13 miles an hour. So let's put it up to 5. So full throttle, they reckon 55 kilometers or about 34 miles. Now, considering you can get the extra battery, which will go here where my bag is, 68 miles on this, not sure about that. Nearly 70 miles on an e-bike. I don't really see that happening, but Engwe said they're going to send me another battery, so let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see me do a attempted 70-mile full throttle range test. Obviously, with this bike being not the best bike to pedal, it's okay to pedal, but it's not the best, not the most comfortable. If I did run out of batteries, I would be kind of screwed.
But how does it do on hills? Even 250 watt e-bikes are generally fine on hills as long as you're pedaling, but how about if you didn't want to pedal? So far, only one of my e-bikes has made it up Sandy Lane, our hill climb test, without any help from the rider, and that's the excellent Engine Pro in a time of 1 minute and 10 seconds. The 750 watt EP2 Pro failed, as did all the other bikes with 500 watts or less. So will the M20 make it? And could it do the unthinkable and beat the Engine Pro? Let's find out.
3, 2, 1, go. I really want this to do well. Let's get some speed up. 10, 11. The battery is not going to thank me. 15 miles an hour. Come on, bike. I can feel it slowing. And obviously, like I always say, I could easily get up there if I helped, but I'm not going to. Throttle only. Come on. We're still going. 2 bars on the battery. If I can get around this corner, we're up. Will it? Okay, it does look like it's going to get up, but the question is, will it beat the Engine Pro? So we're getting up there. We're getting up. It's making it up, which is good news, because the EP2 Pro is also said to have a 750 watt motor, but it couldn't make it up. But this has made it up. But will it make it up in a better speed? And we're coming to the stop point. And 3, 2, 1, stop. Right. Let's see.
And here is the leaderboard as it stands. Let's see where the M20 fits in. And the 34 kilogram M20 is 2 seconds slower than the 37 kilogram Engine Pro. There it is in second place. Now, I have to admit, the Engine Pro was taken straight to Sandy Lane for its test, whereas the M20 got there after the first impressions ride and only had 3 bars of battery left. So, maybe that was the difference. If you think there needs to be a rematch, then let us know in the comments. Nevertheless, considering most e-bikes can't get up there on their own steam, the M20 did very well. Wherever you wanted to go, the bike would get you there comfortably and in relative safety, at least compared to other bikes. The double daytime running lights is something I haven't seen on an e-bike before, and is a fantastic feature, as we all know drivers need all the help they can get just to even see an e-bike on the road. And at night, the lights are about as bright as a confused Gandalf the White. They are most definitely the best lights I've seen on an e-bike. So far, I've pretty much sounded like an Engwe advert, and if you are enjoying the review, then don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoy fun e-bike content. If you're thinking about purchasing the bike, then there are affiliate links below. I would be incredibly grateful if you used it, as it helps the channel without adding to your price. Also, there are money off codes of up to $200 in the description too. However, you should definitely keep on listening, as of course no e-bike is without its flaws. So let's find out what is actually wrong with the Engwe M20. Well, I would have liked a longer seat to have the option of taking a passenger. The relatively short wheelbase of the bike is fantastic for manoeuvring it around obstacles, but it does mean there's less space also for a luggage rack on the back. The handle at the back is incredibly handy though. It does come with a nice little case that you could put a few items in, like some bike tools or a digital tyre inflator, but if you want to carry stuff on this bike, expect to be taking a backpack. Also, looking like it does, you may be more likely to be stopped by the law, who think you're on a motorbike with no license plate. I'd like to see one of those plates that you can fit on the back that explain that it is actually an e-bike. Maybe leave off the motor size though in some stricter countries. All in all, the wiring is pretty neat, but not so much behind the lights, where they just sort of hang. The brakes aren't the best. The rear wheel easily locks up even when the front brake is clamped down. I would have liked some bigger brake discs or even hydraulic brakes, which I'd really like to see on all bikes that can reach 25 miles per hour.
And oh, bit of a skid there.
I couldn't see any option for cruise control, but I think that's really only needed if you have a half grip throttle accelerator or a thumb throttle, as it saves you from the cramp you can get from holding those down. I'm a really big fan of the full grip accelerator on this bike. It's easy to hold in one place, though it is easy to knock if you're pushing the bike around. And finally, it can be a bit awkward to pedal. I'm not that tall, and whilst I can pedal it, I do feel like I'm not far off giving myself a flying knee to the jaw. So whilst taller people can sit on the bike just fine, they may feel a bit silly if they have to do a lot of pedaling.
It's a weird feeling being on a push bike that you're not really meant to pedal. There's something about being on this bike compared to a normal standard bikey style e-bike. There's somehow a lot more free. Like, it's like every ride, it feels like you're on holiday. It's hard to describe the feeling. All I can say is it's a good one.
So for a small amount of money for this kind of e-bike, Engwe have absolutely smashed it. If you know you'll be doing short distances, then the single battery version is an absolute steal at under £1,200, and the double battery version is also amazing value for £1,500. And at the moment, you get an extra £150 or euros off with the codes in the description, or $200 off if you're in America. There's also £50 off all other Engwe e-bikes on the site right now too. The codes and links to this bike are in the description. Again, they are affiliate links that will take you to Engwe's website, but using them does help the channel at no extra cost to you. But if you are hearing this, then you got to the end of the video and you have already helped out the channel loads, so thank you very much for watching. You were watching the e-VRC, and there will be more on this bike and others coming soon, so subscribe if you don't want to miss that. It is absolutely free. That was the Engwe M20, the bike that makes you feel like you're Steve McQueen on holiday. And who doesn't want to feel like that? If you don't know who Steve McQueen is, then just pretend I said Harry Styles. Ride safe.